Good morning and welcome to Jasiri. It's a very uncertain day, especially, in this part of the country, but I think all around Nigeria. Today is August 1st, the day that has been slated against all odds for the protest against bad governance, and, it's tagged End Bad Governance. Now, on my way here, the road was typically dry, no cars, but I saw a lot of security personnel. But it's good to have the ladies here with me in the studio. I see we made it.
Yep,
in one piece.
Yeah. We did.
How was it coming?
Hallelujah.
The roads were empty. The roads were empty. There were barely any cars on the roads. There were barely any people.
Yeah.
It was like a ghost town.
It was smooth sailing, but you know that there's a lot of panic. You can feel panic in the air, like everybody just waiting for what's going to happen that's going to make everything unravel. You can just see people peeking out of their houses, trying to look out and see what's happening, at least from the island all the way here. In the morning in Abuja, I left home barely early, so it's probably, I couldn't have noticed anything but just the lack of cars on the road. A lot of people actually allow their staff to stay home today, which is a very wise move. Yes. At least you never know.
I think also because of the uncertainty, like Blessing started with, the uncertainty makes you not know what to expect, and when they say when you're in doubt, don't. So when you're not sure of what's going on, like Lolo says, there's so many people who are standing. They just come out, walk out of their houses, walk through the junctions. They just want to stand and see what's going on. And so far, it's just that kind of day where you feel it's a public holiday. And we know that Thursdays are market days in Lagos. So it's a cross between, is it public holiday or because they're just cleaning markets?
The markets are closed.
The
markets are closed. One of my staff was supposed to go and do some things at the market, and he said, there's nobody there. He went there, he can't buy anything.
Yeah, so regarding the protest, I think that it's still too soon to tell, because, we can easily just say that, the government was successful, because let's not lie, it's obvious, maybe not the government alone, but it's obvious that there were some attempts to create fear and panic, don't protest and end. Yesterday, one of our correspondents was at the Lekki Tollgate, Bennett, and he was just giving a situation report, the places, there's relative peace and calm here, nothing is happening. And then we had some security personnel approach them and say things like, oh, you can't be doing this, you're drawing attention to the Lekki toll gate, and then they wanted to take them to the station. So all of these, raised questions like, we haven't even started yet, and then there's the matter of infringement of rights, because it's not like they made it seem like the press is trying to incite violence. Okay, come here, let's protest and things, and it's against that. And one of the statements he made, because I saw that video over and over again, and one of the things that he said was, this is not what we're sending you to cast. And it makes me wonder, whose narrative are we now playing by? We've talked about freedom of the press over and over again, and this is just one of it, right? We haven't, like I said, we haven't even started the protest. And then this morning, we're hearing that, yes, there is relative calm in some areas, but in areas like K2, for example, the protest has kicked off full on. In Abuja, at the Eagle Square, they have started shooting tear gas, and it hasn't even started.
We actually have some footage right now that's showing what's happening in Abuja. We believe this is what it looks like on ground right now.
Heavy, it's just heavy police presence, reactions from these people, social media warriors who are active, and today is going to be that day where there's going to be a lot of activity on social media. This is happening live in Abuja, and reactions have arisen from here saying, why is there
so much police presence?
Heavy police presence, that's the term used. Heavy police presence, almost as if it's preemptive. They're using a hammer to kill a fly.
Yesterday I saw the barrage of trucks bringing in, soldiers, and I'm wondering that, so we have this amount of security personnel and a lot of things that are deployable and usable, and a lot of things have gone wrong in the country. Boko Haram, till today, we haven't found the Chibok girls. Boko Haram terrorized the north for many months on end. The just crisis is there, that intertribal, crisis, and all of them are left unchecked. And now the citizens want to come out and protest. And there is this amount of pushback from the government. Do they not know that, or do they not think that this will make the people distrust them some more? That if you can do this to us, then what's our hope? Then let everything just go to
I don't even think the government cares necessarily about the trust that its people has in it. Not anymore. If you look at the precedents that's been set, people complain. We've been complaining for months. This is the first time that the government has made any attempt to show that they even hear that we're saying anything. The only thing is that they've heard what they choose to hear, and they're responding to what they've chosen to respond to. Trust is completely broken down between the government and the citizens.
It's almost as if we're in a situation where we're bullied as people. We're just bullied.
This is beyond the class bully. And another thing I keep saying about this protest is that we need to, rethink our strategy.
Yes.
Because even as a people, I keep saying it, a lot of people will be like, okay, Lolo, it's not like I disagree with the protest. But what I disagree is the purpose that it does not have. Because if we do not have a purpose and an agenda that is unified, then it becomes chaotic. It's so easy to disperse us because of division. Before you know it, they would fragment us by differences in our asking.
I was going to say
that.
that.
Toppling of the government. That is a far cry from saying end bad government. End bad government.
It stands on its own.
It stands on its own.
End bad
Some
governance.
are saying it's cost of living. Some are saying it's insecure. This is Abuja now, and you can see that the people are just holding up placards and chanting as mildly as they can.
So I think we have our correspondent on standby, Joshua Marai in Abuja. He'll give us more details as to what's going on. We can see them chanting. I don't know if we have Joshua now. So Joshua, if you can hear us, what's the update there in Abuja? Do we have Joshua Marai?
I was going to say, before we get to Joshua, I was going to say that, did you girls know that the Igbos, like the Igbo associations have actually decided, in different parts of Lagos, have decided to remove commode board.
Not just even in Lagos, even in the north.
Yes,
even in the north.
When I said, I didn't want
I think we've got Joshua now.
I think Joshua's here now.
We've got him on.
Allocated by members of the government that it should be the only place where protesters should converge and demonstrate. But the protesters here are not happy with this development. They are complaining, and the complaints are that previous days some people were allowed to protest here in the Eagle Square. Then why is the police saying that they should take their protest down to the National Stadium? They have been back and forth with members of the Nigerian Police Force. Even there are senior officers of the Nigerian Police Force who are insisting that this place is an illegal area where protesters are to converge in. So they are asking them to move down to the National Stadium, and the protesters are not accepting this order, and they seem not to be comfortable with it, and protest here is still ongoing and in full force.
You see.
All right, thank you, Joshua Marai, for that update. I mean, that's another thing that concerns me, the fact that I think one of our anchors was asking a legal practitioner yesterday as to the veracity of having to restrict protesters to certain angles, because for me, it's like, it defeats the purpose, right? It's like you're locking them up in a place, let them just stay there and be shouting whatever they're shouting. Nothing is affected. The whole idea is to draw attention, so in drawing attention, it's not to incite violence or anything, but there should be some movement restrictions. There should be a little bit of peaceful disturbance, to put it that way.
There are laws that are on ground already that guides the fact that, okay, your freedom to speak, your freedom to converge, to gather. The only thing that I fear for, there was this angle you brought about this Igbo keeping their hands up. That is part of the fragmentization.
Of course.
Because everybody is looking for how this benefits them. Have you not noticed that most of our people from the Eastern extraction, because if you zero in on them now, they'll say, oh, you have made it tribal. Many of them are businessmen. They don't really care. Even if inflation hits the roof, they keep adding money to their goods and services. And you keep paying for it. People keep buying because some of the things they sell are essential. So would you say they're part of the struggle? as at now.
But then again, could it not be that it's an attempt that, you know, this time around we don't want to be seen as the rebels? Because a lot of times we hear, you know, the Igbo saying they're not a part of it, they're not being carried along and things like that. So could it just be that now they're like, okay, you know what?
Everybody just knows that this is a Yoruba governance. So when it comes to us, let's be watching. They have crisis in their own side. The Biafra agitation is still beating its drums, even if it's low. They still have one of their stalwarts of some of these their struggles in prison. They have the curfew that is illegal, but is ongoing in the east, and they've done nothing to push back.
So that is for you. They are busy facing their own. And
like,
Annie was saying that.
thing,
And Annie was saying that is the core of the issue.
Yes.
That is the core. Yes. If you feel that we are not together, it's a Yoruba government, so you fold your arms and you stay. We cannot, and that's why that open door will always be a wound that will continue to fester if we don't do anything about it and close that door.
All right, very quickly, we have another correspondent of ours here in Lagos, currently in Alausa Ikeja, who is with one of the leaders of the Take It Back movement. I'm hoping that we have Nii on standby. So, Nii, if you can hear me, can you give us an update on what's going on in Ikeja right now?
I can hear your blessings. Just as you can hear the chants in the background, it's loud, it's huge, and bad governance. And I'm actually here with one of the members of the Take It Back movement. We spoke to him last week, and we raised concerns about if the protest would be violent or not, the concerns the government was having, that was it's just a propaganda. And I'd just like him to share his view on what has been happening so far, because we have been moving from Ikeja on that bridge. We are now at Oregu Road, and we are heading to the Ganifawe Park in Ochota. Sir, quickly share your view. How has the process been so far?
The process been so far, law and order have put in place due procedure from the security forces. Kudos to the Nigerian Police Force, Lagos State Police Command, in person of Fakoide, Adegoke Fakoide. The CP have promised us safety, and we can see the safety. Lagos is welcome, and at least in the history of this an iconic protest, there is well orderliness, there is structure, we coordinate ourselves, the hoodlums have not penetrated us. As at now, I didn't know in the next few hours what might happen, but as at now, the hunger protest that started at the underbridge, Ikeja, now we are heading to the park of our iconic freedom fighter, Ganifawe. There is no bridge of peace. Nobody is constituting nuisance.
Thank you very much. And you just heard it from Mr. Agedo, the member of the Take It Back movement. I'd like you to just get a view of what is also happening around here, just behind me. We're trying to track back, and you can hear the chants of the people. Let's track back a little, so I can show you the crowd. At least we have over 2,000 youth gathered here, chanting. I actually want to run an interview with one of the organizers, who I'm heading towards right now, so we can have his view. Quickly, sir, have a conversation with us. Okay. What has the protest been so far? Sorry? How has the protest been so far?
Peaceful, as much as it is. We have told them it's going to be a peaceful protest, because none of us are hooligans. The hoodlums, they are not by us. They are being used by the government, not us. We're always peaceful with us anytime we organize protest.
What movement are you representing?
I'm representing my group, All Electricity Consumer Protection Forum. I am the national coordinator. I am the one in charge of the group that torture, that make sure that both the NEC and the DISCO do the right thing concerning electricity. To shock you, we are in court against NEC over the increase in Bande in Ibadan Federal High Court presently. My group. So I am standing there on behalf of my members that are also part of this. But this is Take It movement.
Thank you very much. You heard it. The electricity tariff group is also represented here, and I'm sure various other groups we're trying to identify, they are also represented here. Everyone is just chanting end bad governance. Blessings, I have so much more I can give you, but I'll let you just take the lead.
Thank you so much, Ni. As much as you can, please stay safe. We're happy, though, that, we're starting off peaceful, but emphasis on starting off. We're not wishing anything bad goes on, but we know that in Nigeria, it takes just a switch for things
everywhere in the world.
Yes.
0 to 100.
I am particularly interested in the fact that we have so many groups. This one now, this particular person that spoke to me is representing
the electricity
to make sure that the regulation, everything that comes to electricity, it's not too arduous on the people. That just shows that we can form a coalition, structure if we want to. The only thing that can make us powerful is to be able to have a unified front. Look at all these leaders.
Why is it so hard, though, for us?
No,
Seriously?
because you know that interests are always different. Because whether you like it or not, there are so many. Do you know this Chinese rule? He works so much here. When they say divide and conquer, that's what they do. When they infiltrate some of these groups, you just find out that it will crack from within, and the center no longer holds. If every of these factions have visible leaders who are top leaders, leaders that people follow, and everybody can be identified, imagine if they are like 100, and we're able to engage all their leadership, and they are saying the same thing.
Yeah. And if
it will be so loud, nobody can break anything, nobody will. Once you come out and say, this is our... This is what our demand.
And we can stand behind.
Out of 100, 1,000, 10,000 leadership of different groups, everybody says one thing.
The same thing.
It will be so loud. Unlike when if we go to Ibadan now, and they are saying, oh, we want a toppling of this regime. We go to East, and they say, consign us. So the government will be like, who do we want to focus on? Because whether they like it or not, they will want to engage us in a dialogue. But if these things are faceless, who do they dialogue with?
And then they know that they can infiltrate some parts of it.
There's this thing.
Yes.
I think it's a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. And you asked the question just now, Kat, like, why is it that it's so easy for us to be toppled? Is because there is an artificial weakening that has been done, intentional but artificial weakening of people. So if you take poverty, for instance, if I have made people poor, then I can use my resources to control those people.
So
that's
we're
what
basically
it is.
Weaponizing poverty.
Poverty has been weaponized, illiteracy has been weaponized, even just sheer human capital, which Nigeria has so much of, that has still been weaponized against us.
So can we win in situations? I mean, these are questions that spark conversations in spaces that if we're thinking of pushing ahead and trying to break away from the norm, how do we win when all these things are stacked against us?
Whether we like it or not, it's a mentality shift. And it's just so hard that it is something that needs to be individually done. Because if you're not going to if you want to tidy a street, you have to tidy your home first. A lot of our youth are social media warriors. Many of them know how to go to their keeper. But now to put your money where your mouth is, that's where the hard thing comes. Election time. It's easy to type and support people online. But when it comes to physically being able to do something,
align yourself.
Well, let's not lie. It takes a lot of hope, right, and faith that something. They say the only thing we have left now in Nigeria is hope. Because imagine you're a Twitter warrior, you're doing this, you're that, but every time you're seeing people go out to protest, people are losing their lives. People are dying for no reason. For a country that in the next 2 days they're forgotten, that there's no justice system in place. People are rotting away in prison. It takes a lot of doggedness to actually come out and damn the consequences. What happened in Kenya, people knew that some people might go, but might lose their life, and you know what, we still have to do it.
But there's a saying, I don't know if it's
no, sorry, go on.
I don't know if it was Mandiba that said it, that if you do not believe in a cause big enough to be able to die for it, you do not have any belief. So if we keep thinking that my own child can't be there, I will keep my own, then we are not ready. The unified purpose all of us is looking for. We are all in this same Nigeria.
Are you not seeing? I'm interested to see that video of the Igbo marketers, and it's Alaba. that say, okay, no, we are not involved in.
They are in their market selling their goods.
Do you understand? That thing is
again, because they had been. I mean, we were here and we saw the Iyaloja with a subtle threat saying that, you know what, you can't.
The market
protest,
people are not.
If anybody is protesting, we should not protest. But anyways, very quickly we'll go on a short break. This is still Jasiri, and it's August 1st, so I'm sure that what you're expecting mostly here today is details and information from the protest, and we'll be giving you that because we have our correspondents across board. We have in Borno State, Abuja, of course, and some areas in Lagos. And as it unfolds, we'll be letting you know. We're hoping that it stays peaceful as it has started. Stay with us. Jasiri will be right back. Many thanks for staying with us. You're still watching Jasiri, and today is the 1st of August, so you know that what to expect from the studio here and, of course, from the field with our correspondents are details and information on the ongoing protests. Now, our phone lines are open. We want to hear your thoughts on this protest, on the economy generally, and what you think the government can do better and how the protest can go. But I would quickly like to say that wherever you are, outside or inside, try staying safe. And, of course, if you have information, you can also reach us. That's why our phone lines are open. Now, for those who do not exactly know what the protest is about, which I highly doubt, except you're living under a rock, there are certain information that we would like to be given. Now, according to a statement from the #EndBadGovernance movement, the ongoing protest, which commenced today, will take place daily from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. until their demands are met. Now, the movement has outlined a 10-point demand agenda dubbed #10 for 10 demands, and this is focusing on key issues like affordable living and accountable governance. The demands have been categorized into two phases, as you see on the screen shortly. Now, the first phase is the phase 1, which is 5 demands in 7 days, and the phase 1 demands include focus on the hunger, the cost of living, the insecurity, and of course government waste and cost of governance, as well as bloated budget, basically. And then the phase 2 is 5 demands by the 1st of October. So these are demands that are stretching out until the 1st of October. Mind you, this protest is supposed to continue until these demands are met, or at least there's a conversation about it. Now, the 5 demands by October 1st basically entails the protection of farms and farmers, human capital development, electoral reform, establishing a living wage, and of course, constitutional and judicial reform. Don't forget, phone lines are open. The number will be showing on your screens. Do well to, give a phone call and let us know what you think and what your opinions are. I don't know about this demands being met immediately, but at least I know that at least people are expecting a dialogue about them and a possible headway.
Now, the dialogue question is, will it be possible? Will it even be considered? Because we've realized that the things that we seem important to us may not necessarily be important to the government. Not that they don't listen. This is obvious that
but that's not how it should be.
Exactly.
Is the government?
We're living in a topsy-turvy. It's almost as if we are on a pay-as-you-go kind of government. Just trial and error. We just see as we go.
Yes.
Like, that's what they're making the citizens believe. There's a huge disconnect between the government and the people. That between the paper niesa, you can't disagree with that.
The government is not for the people.
Yeah, once she enters the French place, she has got to that height.
You can't argue with that.
Yeah.
It feels like there's just a huge disconnect.
There's so many things that I like to sit down because I live in this country. I have learned to take a stand back and look at things a little without emotion. Because Nigerians are very emotional people. Sometimes we want to put 500 things in one demand. But if we have 3 major demands, which can split into variables or variations, smaller pieces. But now, we have the demands in 7 days. What is the logical way to end hunger in 7 ways? Those are the kinds of things they will tell us back home. Sure, when we come to this dialogue. And those are the things they will push back and tell us that. In 7 days, how do we end hunger?
Yeah, so I understand that. But my thing is, for anybody who is just like a child who wants candy, and then the child gets the opportunity to go into a candy store, the child will want almost every candy there because they've been craving candy. That's the position we're in now. As Nigerians, there's so many things we're faced with, so many different problems, we don't even know where to start. So there's an opportunity for a protest. Of course, everybody is going to put it out there. Oh, we want this, we want that. It's just the same way, with the salary increment structure. We knew that 200K was a little impossible because it's not logically,
was too
doable. But everybody is hungry, so it's like 200 or more if you can work, no problem, so everybody was hopping on it. But eventually we had analysts talk about it, we have financial institutions talk about it, and people started to see the reason. So that's where a dialogue should come in. Okay, fine, you're asking for this, that's a bit of a tall order, but we can do this, we can do that, and then we streamline it.
Even though I agree that we have myriads of problems, but logically everything can be solved at once, whether we like it or not. But we need to know which are the most important.
But
the most
the problem that people are having is, you said everything can't be solved at once, and you're right. But Nigeria has a history of nothing being solved at all. And that is what people are reacting to. You haven't given them anything to hope for or have hope in you for. Our promises aren't kept. We have governments come in and out, they pass through the country. It's almost like they pillage the country, pillage its citizens,
leave it worse
until the next set comes through. So it's like, listen, if we have this opportunity and the eyes of the world are on us, then we're going to ask for as many things as we can have, even though we know we might not be able to get them.
So we know that. So the question is, okay, we've tabled all of this. Which one are you willing to do? But when there's no compromise at all, you're countering everything. Oh, we can't do this. Okay, which one can you do? Electricity, nil. This one, zilch. This one, zero. What are we getting?
Well, I mean, take a look at this. If our currency ever had pride, it lost it since this current administration decided to sit on that chair, because the truth is, the point you think that the dollar or foreign exchange cannot get that higher, they never, if it were like 2015-ish, if they had told you, Lolo, see,
it would get
dollar would be like this, you would say never. How? Even at 165 and 300, and we were still complaining. But even at that point, you never thought that it would get here. So what is to say that in the next couple of years, it's not going to get higher? It's like things have just gone progressively worse, and that's what Annie's saying. A country, the first governance, this government comes in, sits on the chair and just moves. You go through Nigeria, and you just leave it the worse off. And then you leave it worse for the person who's taking over, and then you stand on behind that umbrella and you say, oh, this is not, it didn't start from us. The problem didn't start with this administration. It's a ripple effect. It's coming from 3, 4, 5 administrations.
So this makes me,
I keep thinking about is, because I want this protest to bear fruit. I don't want it to just be, because the thing I see year in, year out from Occupy Nigeria, it becomes, we'll have fun for a while. Then after some time, NSAS, it loses its steam. After some time, NSAS became a concept. Of course, they were looking at us that see all these children. They don't know what they are doing.
So you think the see finish stuff involved in
there is. Because imagine we're in a war situation. Yoruba will say something like, Iduro si berusi.
What does that mean?
That means in a war situation, there's no space for standing. There's no space for sitting. But when we ourselves, we can start to dance galala on our problems. They will say that these ones are not serious. When we do all this now, blessings, they now say, okay, let's come to a round table. Who is going to that round table?
That's going to lead me right to the next point I wanted to talk about. You see, what I think a lot of people, especially the younger ones, our generation doesn't understand is this. We are going against men and women who are they are politically savvy. They understand how this game is played. They have studied it. In fact, they have written the rule book. They've written the rule book. And our generation is not informed. Now, where you don't have information, you can be taken advantage of absolutely, not even in part. And that's what is happening.
Can I give you a high five?
If you take us as representatives to the government, let's say they say, okay, come to the table, sit down, let's have a talk.
Articulate.
What are we going to say?
Now you are coming to where I have been.
So the thing is, I completely understand this. Number one, that shouldn't even be the case. It should be a a plain case of we have a right, we are exercising our rights, you listen to us. But now there are different tactics, there are different logics. Yes, those who are playing political games know they're playing political games. During NSARS, for example, some of the youths came out to speak, you know, but eventually it was like they now had eyes on them, they started tailing them and things like that. So everybody now has learned, okay, you can't go and speak. In fact, if you go and talk to them without us knowing, it's like you're taking bribes. So everybody's like, it shouldn't be that, but everybody's like having their guards up, like, you cannot use us anymore.
The next thing is, yes, they can't use us anymore. I hear that, but what I'm saying is, it's a deeper issue. It's a fundamental issue. And I get the government has done wrong. I'm not even on the side of the government.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, we the people, we were in the car the other day. The driver was lying to the person that he was supposed to be picking. Instead of him to say, hey, listen, madam, I'm on another ride, I will be with you in 15, 20 minutes. He was saying, oh no, I'm around. I can see you. Are you the one wearing? Let's be honest. That is a sample of how Nigerians generally think. Now, if you take people, let's say my age, blessings, our generation, and say, go to the government office. Do we understand policy making? Do we, how many of us have read the Constitution?
Yeah.
I'm not even just saying, I'm not trying to be the devil's advocate. I'm saying, listen, if you want change, you have to know what you're first trying to change.
Yeah.
You can't just say, okay, change it changes, and they ask you, what are you changing? You don't know. You don't.
That's what I keep saying.
That's the problem.
When I say I take a dispassionate look at some things, because I'm a lawyer, I have legal background. You can go to court. A lot of times we see people go to court excitedly,
and they
go to court and they fail.
Yes.
Why? Because what you don't put before the judge cannot be inferred. We want something. A lot of young people need to learn how governance is done. I like this scripture. They said Joseph, when he was to sit with all those Egyptians, they said he went to shave himself. You know, Jews, they don't have beard. They have beard.
The hair.
But if you want to sit at this table,
you shave.
You must come correct.
Yes.
If our youths go there now,
what are we going to say?
Where is our coming correct?
So I understand of our concentration
you
is
think
on
that
content
because you
creation.
sit before the president,
I understand.
Imagine we have a youth that is standing before the president today and goes,
how is he going to
you are a bastard? You never do well.
So Lolo, I get that. But then again, let's not forget that there are people who actually understand the Constitution, but their rights, or there's a superimposition of either threat or, you know, trying to silence them. We've seen these things. We saw activists, young people come out last year, and then it's either they're arrested or they're this, they're that, and then their voices are silenced to the point that they can only speak on social media.
You want a revolution, you want a change.
You're right.
And you do not know that whether we like it or not, there is nothing that doesn't have consequence.
Absolutely.
So if you have chosen to walk
that path,
how many years did Mandela stay in prison?
Exactly that.
How many years?
While we understand that there's need for doggedness, there's need for knowledge. Yes, there's need for doggedness. There's need, first of all, for there to be insight.
Yes.
There's need there's need for knowledge, to be knowledgeable.
Yes.
And sadly, there's a lacuna in that, especially with young people.
Thank you.
And young people are focused on things that bring them immediate relief.
Exactly.
But at the same time, it does not negate the history of everything that has happened since administration. Guys, let's take a look at the highlights of the multinationals that have left. No, this is just one part of it. Yeah.
Yes.
The highlights
it's one thing to say that, okay, the young people don't know how to fight. They do, but is it even fine? We're talking about doggedness. Mandela was in prison, but he fought for a cause, and then they're celebrating it now.
Take a look at this. During the Tinubu administration, that's in 1 year. In 2023, Unilever Nigeria PLC left, Procter & Gamble Nigeria, GlaxoSmithKline Consumer Nigeria Limited, ShopRite, that we all knew was the go-to, left, Sanofi Aventis Nigeria, Equinox, Bolt's Food, Jumia Food Nigeria. That was last year. Now, the first 6 months of this year, Microsoft Nigeria has packed their load and gone. Total Energies Nigeria, PZ Cousins Nigeria Limited. I remember my early days as an accountant. PZ was a big name then. Kimberly Clark Nigeria, Diageo PLC. That one sold 58.02% shareholding in Guinness Nigeria to Tolaram Group. Listen, guys, where do we win? It's like going to school and writing your tests and exams. and this is the result. If you want to plot the graph of this, how can you say you have worked hard?
Thank you.
Look at the persistent high inflation rates as of June this year. As in 34.2%. We're finding it more difficult to feed ourselves. Food inflation is currently at 40.8%. Prices of basic goods are becoming unbearable. I went to the market yesterday. What did I buy, my ladies? What did I buy? When they sent me, before then, I was meandering and dilly-dallying around the house because, you know, it's with trepidation
you go to the market.
that you go to the market.
Now I look at
small nylon.
Every time I look at
20,000.
I think of this country.
That's after withdrawing some money.
We have
to buy
a lot
other
of analysts come and sit on this table with us with great insights on what can be. I am not a finance person, but I know that mathematics is equation based. You can do this to get this, which are just permutations that if they put the right people on this table. I am so tired of every time they say they have a committee.
Yes.
The committee will sit down, get allocations for sitting, be okay, bring a paper, a communique. I mean, what do they bring out of this? Their thing, submit it. Remember the last time we're reviewing the one that they did in what year? In what year? So sometimes I'm looking at the sincerity of the government too. That are they really sincere? Because in the past, you will see them have committees on things. Bring out a paper from this committee sitting. But there is nothing that is done. Do you know how many years that the lecturers used to battle them for an agreement they had what year?
In fact.
So this is why this brings me back again to the, I wouldn't say, we cannot just sit down and say, okay, there are people who do not know the rights, who do not know the Constitution, but are they even allowed? They asked our president when he was, vying for power, and they asked him, why do you want to? And the answer was, it's my turn.
Okay, so blessings.
Where is that done?
Blessings. I hear you. There are people who have the information. There are people who have the knowledge. Yes, maybe some of them are in hiding. But you mentioned Mandela, I think, before we started talking about the people that have moved out of the country. And Mandela had a cause. Mandela was informed. Because before you do anything, you must know the why of why you are doing it. Otherwise, you can fall away. It is your why that keeps you grounded
to your cause.
And we've talked about this over the course of this week. The why of ending bad governance in Nigeria is
fundamental. We talked about being
I just saw something that they sent. They said, and the Nigerian Bar Association offers free legal services for end bad governance in Nigerian protesters. They have said that the Nigerian Bar Association has set up a free legal support system or service for anyone whose fundamental rights may be violated as a result of the ongoing protest. So that's something good.
But we had that during the NSAS. We did have that during NSAS, but it didn't yield much fruit. I don't know if they're going to buckle up more, but I remember vividly that this announcement was made.
Yes, I think we have someone, correspondent Emmanuel.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, Emmanuel Bagudu, can you hear us?
I can hear you very clearly, loud and clear.
All right, can you give us a situation update on how it is on your end?
Yes, I'm standing right in front of the Moshood Abiola National Stadium here in Abuja. There's a little clash between protesters and the police. The police want the protesters to go inside the stadium and protest, but the protesters say no because they feel it's a trap. So they refuse to go and they prefer to stay here. So when they discovered that they are not going to be allowed, they are being forced to enter the stadium, they decided to take their protest to the Eagle Square. They are not moving to the Eagle Square. I don't know that look at them already moving to the Eagle Square camera, and they are leaving to the Eagle Square from the National Stadium because they don't want any confinement. So I have someone I want to talk to, who is actually someone who actually witnessed the fracas between the protesters and the police. All right, come on, sir. Hello?
Go ahead, Emmanuel.
Go ahead.
I can hear you.
All right, go ahead. Let's hear from him.
Okay. Let's hear you. Give us the scenario.
Well, this is a protest that is 60 years late. What you have really is over 60 years of the subjugation of the Nigerian people by a brutal, greedy, cruel political elite. And that's why Nigerians are here, really. It's been over 60 years of sorrow, tears, and blood, as the late Abameda sang. So that's why Nigerians are here. Nigerians are saying enough is enough.
Okay, so give us a scenario of what the police
Well, really, I was here about 3-4 hours ago. What you had here were young people carrying placards with Nigerian flags, very peaceful, singing songs. On the other hand, what you had were policemen with AK-47s. Policemen shouldn't bring AK-47s to a civil protest. And they were trying to restrict the protesters to try and take them into the stadium. Protesters were not having that. We're not served any court order. I'm a lawyer. We haven't seen any court order. They say we had to stay in and around the stadium. I don't know if that was the exact words that were used in the court order, but the protesters have a right to civil disobedience. So in a democracy, technically, the protest can say we don't want to obey a court order and we will pay, the price for that, which is, well, I can say maybe arrest, but civilly done. So, and that's what the protesters are doing. Civil disobedience is a part of the democratic process. And that's why the protesters are marching, in disobedience of the police to the Eagle Square. I'll be heading there pretty soon myself too.
Thank you. So all movements now, all protests now, activities now are now shifted to the Eagle Square. The place is already scanty, so the protesters believe that the central business district, which is the Eagle Square, will be where their voice will be well heard. And then, of course, the police may not have any reason, to intimidate them at the spot.
All right, Emmanuel, very quickly, can you tell us about the tear gas situation? We heard earlier that tear gas was fired, and I'm not sure, but we also heard that a pregnant woman was affected. I don't know the details. Is there, were you able to see that?
Sorry, repeat your question again, please.
So basically, tell us about the tear gas situation that happened earlier, because we heard that tear gas was fired, at Eagle Square in Abuja.
Yes. I actually witnessed it. The tear gas was fired. A nursing mother, together with some protesters, were actually protesting. And the tear gas was fired. It also affected my eye. I experienced that too. And the baby was actually evacuated immediately to a safety environment. But the police were actually cautioned. When they discovered that the protesters are only going to react, they are going to be enraged, they decided to keep calm and stay away from the protesters. That's the situation right now. And since the protesters from the National Stadium are already moving to the Eagle Square, I believe that things will be a bit calmer because the population there is going to increase. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Emmanuel, for the details. Of course, we're going to reach back out to you for more information. Thank you. And please, in the meantime, do stay safe. And I'd really just like to put this out there. Please keep your toddlers or your children away from this protest. It's not necessary. Sometimes we use, nursing mothers or people like that as clickbait. It's not necessary, to be honest. These are children's lives.
I got an update from one of the groups that I'm following that in Kano, it seems that it's turning a little violent. He said, more protests don't turn violent in Kano. They don't break our car rear windshield. So I do not know the situation in Kano. We have heard that so many things about Kano being a little heated.
Yeah, we spoke about, in the makeup studio, we spoke about even Maiduguri area as well. Hopefully we can get more details about that.
Our phone lines are on. You can call us in the studio to make your contributions on everything that is ongoing at the moment. So you can see our phone lines on your screen right there. So do call us and put in your word on what is happening generally. This is what I didn't want at all.
I think it's an African. It's a quiet wave that has quietly been sweeping.
No, you have to pick a side because you cannot be having the spirit of Mandela and then you don't expect an escalation. That's what I'm saying. Do you get my point now? You have to.
All right, so listen, outside. No, guys. No, let's be honest. Let's take a look at at this quiet wave. It happened in Ghana, it happened in Kenya.
Yeah.
So it's as if, I don't know, Africa is on a movement.
Yeah.
The youth are saying enough is enough around Africa. We've even seen the youth-led revolution in Kenya. That one trended. Nigeria's ongoing protests gaining momentum just yesterday. Ghana joined the fray despite a court order that banned the protests. It's clear that Africa's youth are rising up. They're demanding change. They're refusing to be silenced. In Ghana, angry youth took the streets. They're calling for an end to bad governance and corruption. They're tired of the status quo. They want their leaders to be held accountable. There's so much going on in Africa. But from Ghana, let's see if we can get a clip of what happened.
All right, they don't have that yet, but if there's something I'm going to say, like what happened in Abuja, the lawyer that spoke, I like that they have, towing the line of what you both said. I like that there was a legal, what I'm even driving at is the fact that he knows that people have the right to civil disobedience.
Yep.
Not everybody knows that, but because they have a lawyer, so that's why I said towing the line. Yeah, so but at the end of the day, it's not everybody that would know, because there are people in rural areas that have no idea what the Constitution says yet. Yes, the awareness about that is going to, we're going to, beef up the awareness another time, but now people are fighting. They're hungry, they're fighting for their rights. So my thing is, the few people that know about it, mix up with the people that don't know, help them out. I'm sure that it was maybe either the guy or one other legal person that said, you know what, you have the right to do this, and then it helped them stand their ground.
I need to say something. I'm so just this short thing, blessings. I am in complete agreement, but I want to tell you guys, I think it was yesterday or the day before.
Yeah.
I don't know when this show, I don't know if we're allowed to call the name of the show Big Brother, started. 2 days to a protest. What was trending was Big Brother. This is what I'm saying. Our priorities as young people, you cannot push a movement that doesn't have the matter of it in focus. And for you to have it in focus, you must be well read, you must study, you must be knowledgeable. And I'm saying we are not learning the right things. Our focus is not on this. If you're going to play a game with an expert, you yourself, if you have any hope of winning, you must be an expert yourself. Otherwise, you're dead in the water.
But do you think that they're using that as an escape mechanism?
Yes,
because the reality is heavy for them, and they don't see any way out of it.
It's just this for 60 years, and that's what I'm saying. We have escaped and escaped and escaped, and now our backs are against the wall. A crate of eggs is 6,000 naira.
Yes.
I have children. We can't keep escaping. We can't keep running to entertainment or little bits of distraction. Because it's not going to suffice for much longer.
So it's a procrastination thing that they're doing. You're playing the long game in advertising. Ultimately, you're going to arrive there at the fact that, like you said, you have to be informed.
One of the things I want to say is that now that we're here, with all the things she's saying about education, now that we have MBA putting their back, let them come out and reel out what are the rights for such things.
You see, the thing
let it be
Lolo,
on TV,
Lolo,
on the radio,
we hear you.
No,
Aton.
pull it out.
We hear you. How many of us, leaning to what Annie has been saying, how many of us as adults and young people have the time to, we spend 10 seconds on every text.
Yeah.
How many will have the time? The lawyers can go ahead and print all the T and C's, but who's going to read it?
It's your I mean that they can simplify it and say, you have a right to civil disobedience within this even the way you are saying it, you have a right to because when they push against you, don't you know that wars are fought with strategy? Why do you think every film that we have ever watched, remember Braveheart, when he comes out and he gives them word, you people, is your land. These are your rights. This is
that will not work in Nigeria.
One at a time.
Blessings, you wanted to say something.
Yeah. No, so I'm just going to say that with all of this, and pushing for youth to be more inclined and well-read and all, the question that should be at the back of everybody's mind is it worth the fight? Now, I'm not saying that we will not have that savior that would come and help, but Someone said this protest is 60 years late. We've been having protests over and over again. The last and most deadly one was the NSAS protest. What happened after that? Nothing. So we need to put into consideration that these people, yes, they are motivated to fight, but they are demotivated to see it. They do not expect to see a result. That's why I said it takes a certain kind of hope.
Do you know? Do you know that you cannot push an agenda that you do not believe in?
No.
You cannot believe in something that you do not understand. And how do you get understanding? You learn, you gather information. Because when you are taking your time to learn, you are investing yourself in the cause. We are not invested in Nigeria. And honestly, I'm tired of us, the citizens, complaining about something that we ourselves are not invested in.
How do you get investment?
You learn. You take personal responsibility.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
if you know that
so
God backs you, it gives you this impetus and courage from inside.
So this is my thing, right? I do understand and I completely agree. But then again, let's not forget that there are loopholes. There are people who are sitting down on top of the law saying that, yes, you know you're right, but what will you do? There are people that have been arrested since NSAS that are still not free.
I know this.
So how do you bring a lawyer to fight that? Like, okay, I have a right to civil disobedience. You're still in prison.
You don't bring a lawyer. You don't bring one doctor. You bring everybody. But everybody has to come to the table with the knowledge of what their rights are.
I think to try to close this off, I think people who are in jail, a lot of times, people who end up in the police station in that space do not know their rights.
Of course.
All right, they're there for the wrong reasons and they don't know how to get out of it. And meanwhile, it's just something like this.
Yes.
You can get out of it.
All right, Jasiri time I would have argued this again, but Jasiri time is up. Jasiri time is up. Very quickly, on your screen, we have some tips that can help you stay safe. And of course, the first thing is what Annie has been saying. Know your rights. Please make sure that you know what you're doing. And you're not disobedient in the sense that you are waiting to just fight anybody, fight any police. Just be careful, stay safe. And like I said yesterday, try and move in a group of 2 or 3s. Just make sure that you're with somebody that can help. And of course, there's some phone lines that you can call just in case. And then we heard that some lawyers are giving a pro bono, offering representation for people who feel like their constitutional right is being violated. But please just make sure you stay safe. We have our correspondents across different states, and of course we'll be giving you more info as it unfolds. The news will come up very shortly, and the whole of today we're just going to give you more information regarding the protest. That's all the time we have on today's episode of Jasiri. Thank you so much for watching. Like I said earlier, do stay safe and make sure that you are going. Okay. Yes, we are. We're going. So for me and the ladies, it's bye.